welcome to Kick Conflict to the Curb, the place where department managers and growth minded individuals come to gain wisdom from some of the world's best experts in conflict resolution. I'm your host, Joyce Weiss, communication coach and facilitator and queen of conflict resolution. I work with department managers so they can inspire their direct reports, tired of feeling invisible and overlooked, and are ready to confidently use their voice without losing their cool. The result is their input is recognized and respected. Well, I have two important questions to ask. Number one, are you tired of letting bullies take over your conversations? And number two, do you want to learn verbal and body language strategies to take your communication skills to the next level? Well, I am excited. Did you hear me? I am so excited to learn from today's guest, who's a master negotiation and body language expert. Get ready to discover what message you and others convey to others through your body language. I'd like to introduce our guest. Greg Williams is a Harvard-trained negotiator who is ranked by global gurus as the sixth top negotiator out of the top 30 in the world. He's spoken in 19 countries, written 7 books on negotiation and reading body language, and has appeared on all of the major U.S. networks and in some other countries. Greg's motto is, "You're always negotiating." Here's a fun fact about Greg. He was once a professional blackjack player. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Oh, Joyce, thank you very much for inviting me. And I know, based on your personality and your desire to help people increase their recognition skills of body language and negotiations, that this is going to be a fantastic session.
All right, it is. And we could probably use the whole time of talking about your fun fact. But we're not going to. Maybe next time. One of your taglines, and I said it in the introduction, we're always negotiating. Please tell us more about that.
Well, every environment that you're in, you are either extending information about your thought process and or receiving information about someone else's that can alter your perspective about that individual. And thus, as you give and get information, you're really negotiating. Now, a lot of people go, whoa, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I thought a negotiation is when you are actually sitting at the negotiation table and you may be haggling over a particular aspect that you're seeking. But yes, that's true. And it's also true when you're just communicating with someone. You're
I
getting insights about your abilities.
I'm so glad I asked that question. Because you're right. Of course, you're right. This is my show. You're the guest. You're the expert. We are. I love the way that we can all think. Negotiation is okay to me in communication. I want to talk about my aspect in the conversation, but you better believe I want to invite the other person in. Otherwise, it gets to be boring.
Mhm.
You
And,
know.
Joyce, let me just highlight something also about the body language aspect.
Mhm.
I noticed several things that you did. When you spoke about yourself, you actually pointed to yourself. And when you mentioned about taking one's skills higher in the introduction, you
Mhm.
actually used your hands to indicate going higher also. Those are signals that one should always be very observant of when somebody speaks, because the body always attempts to stay synchronized with someone's words. And if, for example, you had said, well, I believe, okay, now the pointing outward could indicate that you are being more poignant about the
Mhm.
point that you were striving to achieve, which also would take away from I truly believe, and I can put my hands up here just for illustration
Of
purposes,
course,
I
please.
truly believe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is even more, can be, I should say, more powerful. So always observe someone's gestures as they speak. And when someone's not necessarily telling the truth, they may linger with the body language action. Well, Joyce, I think your statement is not truthful. That gesture was not aligned with my words. So those are just some little inside cues to pick up on also when communicating.
Well, you've just unleashed the inner body language in me, and now you're going to see. No, I'll try to contain myself. But thank you for that. That was great to know, because it came naturally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling the truth. So when I lie, you're going to know. Oh boy, viewers, pay attention. So
And Joyce,
yes,
let me tag on to something you just said again.
okay.
Again, you asked about why are you always negotiating? You just said that came naturally because I was telling the truth. Now, having interactions with you before we sit down to officially negotiate allows me to create that baseline of how you utilize your body when we are communicating. I then have something to compare that to when you and I are officially negotiating, and I can discern when you may depart ever so slightly from what's normally your baseline, which then signals to me, ah, she may not be 100% truthful, if not outright lying.
Oh, that's great. So observation is huge for you and for us. Remember that, viewers. Now I need to let you know, Greg, that I didn't just read your book, Negotiating with the Bully. I dissected it. And I thought, I mean, this is going to be selfish time. I am going to be bringing up some topics that I personally want answers to. And these are topics that have come up in the facilitation groups that I run. So, are you ready to dissect your book with me?
I'm ready. Go for it.
Good. Well, first of all, how can we calm down a bully?
Be mindful of what is motivating the bully. And I say that to say it's key to understand the mindset behind the bully's actions. Hypothetically, the bully could be in front of individuals to whom he or she has to prove to that particular entity that they can control a situation, that they can be whatever it is that the group expects of that person. Say, call it an initiation, be the case in some situations. In other situations, that same individual may have been fostered by whomever is not even at the negotiation table or even in the environment to come out with the best deal. Well, what does the best deal mean? That means, doggone it, you get 90% of that deal and the other person can only take 10% or get 10%. So understanding what is motivating the bully to act in a particular manner gives you the basis from which how to address him or her. Okay, so let's say, give me any one of the scenarios I just cited or create one of your own and I'll delve deeper into it.
Okay, let's say, well, this came from your book, actually. Let's say you're an employee and you tell your manager that you're being bullied. And the manager says to you in a very bullying tone, um, this is a very important person. You have to stop thinking that way. You're imagining that. And if you continue being a troublemaker, you better watch yourself because your career is going to be impacted. So this person is dealing with a bully boss. So does this give you, is this an example that
I
you
could
can
speak.
use?
I could
Okay.
speak. I could speak to that for sure. So, in this particular situation, you'd like to ask, or you might ask, your boss, "What do you perceive as bullying?" And the
Mm,
boss is going to give you her perspective of what bullying is, and you can say, "Is that part of the culture?" And the boss is going to say, "Well, yes, no, but let's take either route." The boss says, "Well, yes, because we are strongly committed to our goals, and this is the way that we achieve them." You could then ask, Am I making a contribution towards those goals? And the
Mhm.
boss says, well, yes, you are. How significant am I making my contribution? Is a question you might pose. Very strong, very strongly. Well, I appreciate that feed forward. Notice I said feed forward as opposed to feedback.
Mhm. I did.
I can make a stronger impact or have a stronger impact on our corporate goals if A, B, C. I did not feel threatened by the environment, the culture that XYZ is placing me in. I could do more. What you're doing is offering benefits to shift the paradigm of that particular boss, such that that boss then sees how she could improve her department, her area, by having you become more of a player, by feeling less threatened by whomever it is that's bullying you. In some situations, too, Joyce, if you can't calm a bully down,
Mhm.
get out of the environment to the degree that you can as quickly as you can while not displaying the fact that you're fleeing out of fear. The one thing that bullies will thrive on is fear. Fear of
For sure.
fear of two things actually. Fear of the individual displaying too much of it because that just emboldens the bully, and or fearing that the bully will be put back, let down, placed at a lower esteem perspective in their environment. And thus, you have to understand, as I said a moment ago, what is motivating that bully to perform in that particular manner and try and address it such that you display value to whomever you may be speaking to, if not the bully, that may serve as leverage on your side to use against the bully.
The way you described how to deal with a manager is so unique. And this is what I found in your book. And I've seen you, in different workshops when you've been the main guest. So that this is brilliant. Instead of pushing back, instead of being silent, which that's what I'm all about, instead of being silent, change that so that you're showing the benefits of what you could bring, and even to the bully, because I know we're going to take a short break, but I know you talk about there's a difference in the aggressive person and the bully, and we're going to talk about that at the other side of the break. So please, folks, stay tuned. Don't go away. We're going to come back with Greg Williams. Are your star employees leaving? Does your team speak up and admit mistakes without the fear of risk or humiliation? Hi, I'm Joyce Weiss, communication coach and queen of conflict resolution. Department managers discover how to create a workplace where every voice matters. Learn to encourage team members to speak up, admit mistakes, and contribute confidently without fear. Dive into strategies for managing healthy conflict, fostering an environment of respect and recognition, and valuing each employee's expertise. Transform your workplace into a space where everyone feels seen, heard, and seriously considered. So, welcome back to Kick Conflict to the Curb. I'm your host, Joyce Weiss, and our guest, Greg Williams, the master negotiator. So, Greg, at the other side of the break, I brought up the difference between an aggressive person and a bully. And could you tell us how we can respond? Because I know they're different. I did read that section very carefully, but I want you to bring those pages to life, if you don't mind.
Oh, by all means. In certain situations, some people may not be aware of how they are projecting themselves. The persona may be their natural one of being aggressive. And depending upon the culture that one is from, et cetera, that may be standard and acceptable. When you are literally speaking with someone and you're unsure as to whether or not that individual is a bully or someone that's, let's say, aggressive,
Mhm.
you can literally say to the person, especially during a negotiation, you know, I'm not sure if you're just being overly aggressive or if you're attempting to bully me. Now, notice the tonality, the mannerisms in which I conveyed my sentiments. Watch the person's reaction. In some situations, the person will say, well, oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to be aggressive with you, or I did not mean to
Mhm,
bully you. Notice how the person uses either word, aggressive or bully,
mhm.
because that person will indicate what that person is truly thinking per how they're projecting themselves to you. And if the person says, oh, and notice I backed away also, I didn't mean, again, body language gesture, I'm getting away from the words that I've either heard or that I've just spoken. And if the person says, oh, I didn't realize that I was bullying you, I'm sorry. Note to what degree the person changes their personality and negotiation style after that. If, by on the other hand, the person says to you, yeah, okay, so what? I'm bullying you. Now what? And you notice I even came closer to the camera.
Yes, you. I'm moving back. I'm moving
Right,
back. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So you know right then you have a different personality type
Yes.
that you're negotiating with, and it would behoove you to adjust. And you should have planned ahead of time for how you would adjust to someone that's a bully, someone that's aggressive, and to what degree they're willing to alter their style. Because Joyce, the other thing is, if someone is bullying you and you
Mhm.
said something along the lines of, well, I'm not really sure if you're trying to bully me or you're just being overly aggressive, and they said, yeah, I am trying to bully you, you could come back and say, okay, well, if that's the way it's going to be, have at it. I'll tell you, this is going to be one hell of a tough negotiation. Now what? Now, you notice the tonality of my voice even deepened. The authoritative side is being
Yes.
displayed by doing so. So that's just some quick insights about how to deal with either and uncover either.
Quick insights. And as we all know, bullies love targets who are weak. What you did, how you, okay, number one, if the aggressive person, that person's probably gonna, back up. Oh, I didn't know that. The bully, when, yeah, so what? I'm gonna push you. And by you not backing up and saying, okay, let's meet another time, whatever it is, being strong, sounding aggressive and loud, that bully ain't gonna target you during the negotiation. How do you like that for my English? There, that bully is not going to. Hopefully, you'll get more of a chance that you won't be bullied.
Oh, definitely so. And
Yeah.
here's the other thing. As I said earlier, be
Mhm.
willing to exit the environment to the degree you can. Do so with the appearance of strength as opposed to weakness, because as you just highlighted, bullies feed off of weakness.
Absolutely. And this is, oh my God, you talked about, okay, viewers, some of you may have been bullied years ago and the impact is still there. And Greg, you talked about a nurse who was bullied, and to this day, she brought it up and during one of your workshops. I actually have a story that I'm going to share after you respond to that. What can you say to some of the viewers that are watching and saying, oh my God, that's me? I still haven't gotten over what the bully did to me.
Well, depending upon how long ago it happened, you survived and you've thrived since then.
Hmm.
Learn something from every environment you're in. Even when you're bullied, you discover more about yourself, because I'm also sure that to the degree that you stood up in certain situations when you either felt bullied or you did not feel as though you were sufficiently endowed with enough courage, strength, or whatever be the case, you found a way to endear yourself to move forward past that point. You've learned something. Call back the learning that you have experienced from being bullying and determine how you will not allow it to occur again. That's to say, be prepared and understand when someone is truly trying to bully you and the strategies you're going to use to push back on them, the leverage you're going to acquire in order to do so. Because if a bully thinks you're by yourself, the bully may be insightful or incited to bully you more. If the bully knows you have a strong system, support system, that bully may be less likely to actually attack you. So if you think you're going into an environment where you might be bullied,
Mhm.
set the stage before you get there by, through some form of means, letting the bully know, hey, I have a support system in back of me. Beware, because they will come after you if you come after me. It's
Yeah,
about positioning.
you talked about that a lot in your book, Negotiating with a Bully, and I love that. And I'm just going to throw in something else. Let's say you don't have the backup. What about talking to yourself and telling yourself, I'm not going to let this bully, even though he or she bullied me years ago, I'm a stronger person. That's what you were saying. And this is the story that came up. During one of my facilitation, a woman raised her hand and said, I don't understand what went wrong. I said, oh, already, right? I don't understand what went wrong. I said, well, tell us. Well, I thought I was doing something really good. I went up in one of my, to somebody from one of my high school reunions, and I said, hey, I'm really sorry that I was a mean girl to you in high school. Well, the woman who was a target said to the one that was apologizing, you're a bit late. You were a mean girl then, and you're still mean. Now, I was amazed when I heard this story. That then after I heard this one who was expressing I did everything right, she did have this attitude of I know I'm right and it's okay if I apologize. The world should just, succumb to me. Please react to this situation that came up.
Okay, I talked about leverage a moment ago
I
in
did. If
a
you did.
bullying situation.
Hmm.
In that particular situation, one thing that could have been done was to say to the group, what do you think about that? Asking individuals in the group, what do you think about that? So now they're weighing in. Now, here's the thing, in most situations, as the leader of an event, that
Hmm.
leader is respected because those attending have a perceived value about that particular leader. Thus, you have built in leverage right there. So by asking other people in the group, what do
Perfect.
you think about that? They're going to chime in, and
Oh
more than
yeah.
likely, they're going to weigh in on your side, which tends to quiet that other individual down in most cases.
Oh, I love that. I wish I could rewind. I absolutely love that. As a queen of conflict resolution, I'm taking that idea. Of course, will it happen? Um, I just have to see. We've got some thumbs up, and from this program, which is always exciting to see. Now, Greg, I have a very important question. Will you please come back?
Of course, I will. Joyce, the work that you're doing is so amazing, and you're touching the lives of so many people in a
Uh,
positive manner. I have to say yes to you.
Thank you, because I know your schedule is insane, and I'm gonna. We've got witnesses, lots of witnesses, so I will invite you back because I have so many other issues that I wanted to cover. So tell people how they can reach you. I have it, of course, on the screen.
They can actually go to themasternegotiator.com, themasternegotiator.com, and reach me at Greg, that's Greg, at themasternegotiator.com. And I love giving away free stuff to help people. So go to my website, look at the blog section, partake of all the information that's there, and it's yours for free to improve your negotiation and reading body language abilities.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for that information. And I just want to thank you. I had a good time. It went way too fast, but folks, you're going to be able to see the recording. I'm going to post it just a few times on the different social media platforms.
And
Greg, it
Joyce,
was an honor. Yes, sir.
it was my pleasure. And I just want to say as I end,
Yes.
remember, you're always negotiating.
Why did I think you were going to end that way? Thank you for not disappointing. Thanks so much. So, folks, I sure hope that you had as much fun learning from Greg Williams as I did. being the master negotiation and body language expert. And I really hope that you do take Greg up and contact him, whether it's on LinkedIn, ask your questions, because as you can see, he's very approachable. So if you want to discuss how I can work with either you, individual coaching, or a facilitation program to kick conflict to the curb, please send me an email, joyce@joyceweiss.com. And I will be very happy and answer all your questions to see if I'm the right person for you. So until next time, I'm Joyce Weiss, and I encourage you to remember you get what you tolerate. Is it going to be chaos or calm? It's your choice. I value all of my viewers, and thank you so much for watching.